This is the 2023 winter election presidential debate, the final debate, in fact. Um, we have here today is Xavier and the Doctor, and these two will be going at it
Yes.
for about 40 minutes. So, if you two would care to introduce yourselves, Xavier, you can go first. Just introduce yourself. Tell us about.
Hello, I am Xavier, and I have been around the server for about 5, 6 months, and I am running for the presidential debate. I'm a member of Loped.
Is that all?
Yeah,
Okay, Doc.
pretty much sounds so.
How about you?
Hello, my name is Doc A. Kent, reminding you that you're nobody until somebody loves you. And that somebody is me. I love you, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, Doc A. Kent. I've only been around for maybe a month, a few weeks, and I've already made some pretty big changes around and really got my name out there, which, in my opinion, shows what I'm capable of. Um, yeah. I'm a member of Dankus, and I've got quite fond of everyone there.
Well, all right. So, this debate will be structured like this. I'll ask some questions, you guys will go at it, and we'll also respond for questions from our live audience on YouTube. So for our first question, I just want to ask, are you guys both familiar with the roles of the president?
Oh, of course.
Um, yes.
So,
um, the pres the president's duty is to uh, share the server, get people to come around, and also to be a part of the community and say and have the final say upon certain laws.
okay. Uh,
That's
Yeah.
would you say you're familiar with that, Xavier? Roles.
Yes.
Okay. So, now we're starting. I need to ask. The first real question of this debate is, what would you do as president that the current administration isn't already doing? What new thing would you implement? Um, we'll start with Doctor and then go to Xavier.
well, the current president, Gandhi, is an extremely in he's an in the community a lot. He does his job, sure. He invites people, yes, but he doesn't add a more human perspective to it. You know, he just gets these messages, he copies and pastes them. Uh, I personally would be a lot more human, you know, be
Hmm.
more of the people, with the people, you know. Just try to be involved in everything I can to help everyone I can with anything I can.
What about you, Xavier? What would you introduce or do different that the current administration is not already doing?
Uh, Probably be a lot nicer. Um, like Gandhi. First of all, he seemed pretty bad, but now he seems pretty good. But now he's starting to just fall off because he knows he's not going to be president anymore. So
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt,
he's
but
just been.
for both candidates, this question was framed, what would you do that the current administration isn't? What's a new thing that you would implement? So it's not to say what's Gandhi doing
Oh,
wrong, but what would you do that's new and good? Anyway, continue.
okay. Then I would probably have it more strict on the community to just probably just be a lot more nicer, because from what I'm seeing, this community is kind of toxic.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So we have a live question from Jace. Jace, this question is for Doc. He says, "Why are you so against war on the server?"
War is a problem. I think it can be used very wisely. It can be used to do good, but it hasn't. In most cases, in a lot of cases, it has been used to do good, but I think it's been used too much to solve problems, and that doesn't bring people together, which is a big thing for me. Bringing the community together and being stronger. In constant war, that doesn't really bring us together. That splits us apart even further. So that's why I have the problem I do with war.
Okay. Now we have another question for Doc. This comes from Easton Burton. Easton asks, "Don't you think it would take a lot away from the server if war is gone? I think the player base would die down because there would be no fun."
And here's where another thing. My words have been kind of twisted. I don't believe war as a whole should not exist. And, I don't plan to completely remove war. One, because it's not possible, and two, because of the reasons stated. I do believe that it has been overused, though, like I said. And if I could possibly try and diet down a little bit more to bring people together a little bit more, then that would be great. And I don't think bringing people together more would necessarily bring down the community.
Okay. Now we have a question for Xavier. This comes from Jace. Jace asks, "You you primarily use faction discords almost exclusively. Are you going to use the main server more often once you win?"
Probably. Well, actually, for sure I will, because then I'd get to know more people, and yeah, I'd just basically, yeah, I'd be more active on the main server and factions, whatever.
Okay. We have another question for you, Xavier. This also comes from Jace. He says, "Can we confirm that you had said earlier in the debate that the server is toxic?"
Yeah, so people seeing Gandhi being a little bit toxic, so that's what the server thinks is right to act, because they think that's the right thing to do and they won't get punished for it.
Is that all? Okay. Your mic? Okay. We'll give him a second.
Hello?
Okay. Were you done
Alright.
speaking, or do you have something else to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ready.
Okay. We have another question for you, Xavier. This one comes from Easton Burton. Burton asks, "Xavier, do you think from an age perspective you're old enough for this? Maturity is a big thing, and you're gonna have to let harsh things go by, or don't you think you'd have many people quit?"
Okay. Though my age, I have understanded the server pretty well from what I've seen, people accept me. They just know they're fond of me.
Okay.
And I will let harsh things pass by. And I try to not let much people quit. Because this server is actually a really good server. And I'd suggest you wouldn't leave because you don't know, if you stay a little longer, you might make a big difference in the community.
Our next question here is for Doc. It comes from Jace again, and it says, "It's one thing to say war divides the server, but even in times of great peace, the server itself wasn't any more unified. What do you plan to do to unify the server?"
Oh, this is a great question. What I plan to do is, of course, be more active with the community, and not just. So far, I've just been active with, I guess, people talking with them, but I plan to be more active with the community, which I have been for the most part, and do events to bring people together, similar to the Battle Box things, where anyone can come. I plan to do a lot of those, just you know, maybe on like a weekly, monthly basis to try and bring people together. Sit down, talk with people, interview them every now and then, and just talk with multiple people all the time. Just try and get an equal medium with people.
Okay. We have another question for you, Doc. This one comes from Easton Burton, and he asks, "How are you going to give the server a fun environment if war is gone?"
Again, war will not be gone. War will simply be slightly subdued. And with that fun environment, like I said, activities, talking to people all the time, getting people to do things with each other, and, you know, getting to just get to know people and doing stuff with everyone. That's how we make things interesting. And there's also war, necessary war, like a lot of the wars that have happened throughout the history of the server. A lot of those were very necessary.
Um, we have a question here for Xavier now. This comes from Jace. It asks, "Since most of your campaign was based off of Gandhi hatred, can you actually give us an example in the recent past 2 weeks of Gandhi being toxic, as you have said he is?"
Okay. I've said this before, like earlier in the debate. Gandhi's been starting to get more toxic because he knows he's not going to be in the office anymore for president. And an example is about 3 days ago, no, more like 5, Gandhi called Peep, whatever, games retarded. And he's just calling people retarded, autistic, whatever.
Our next question is for both candidates. Doc will go first, then Xavier can answer. It says, this comes from Jace, by the way. "Players quitting is a common occurrence on any server, but here we would like to improve. How will you address players who quit in your turn?" Doctor, you go first.
Well, of course, people leaving, that's something that happens all the time. But I will do my best to prevent people leaving in the first place, to make things more exciting for people. I see that most of the reason people quit, and this is a little cringy, and it's because they lose their things, and that's mainly because of wars. People accidentally get involved in wars, and all of that stuff. You know, people join a faction, and then that faction goes to war a few days later, or someone's just walking around doing a war battle for some reason. I don't know. But I plan to do what I can to stop people from leaving before I have to address that. If I can stop the problem before, it becomes an issue, then that would be good.
Okay. Same question for you, Xavier. How would you address players that quit?
They usually quit because they die and lose all their stuff. Or people just honestly just be mean to them, like they just kill random people.
Hmm.
And that's because most of them don't really know much of the server history. And I mean, like, if you promote, you could tell them a little bit about the history of the server.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot to read up on the history of the server. There's wikis, there's videos that Jace himself makes. There's no problem with learning the history of the server.
Yeah, I mean, like, all compiled into, like, one simple sentence.
That would be pretty difficult. I mean, the server's been around for what, 5 years? Compiling everything of the server, very complicated history that would be difficult and to combine it into one sentence. I mean,
Maybe a little paragraph.
All right, we have another question from the live audience. This one comes from Easton Burton. He asks, Xavier, how do you plan to keep the server fun when we aren't in times of war?
Times of war. Okay. We can. Oh, game crashed. I'll continue. We can do special events. We can do battle boxes. Those are pretty fun. You can win. Or you could do like 1v1s with players if like a little arena, like where you can just have fun battling. Or if you're into building, you can have building contests. PvP, whatever. Or just traveling, exploring the world. Like Jar. He has a pretty good series of exploring crucial cities of all factions.
Where'd you go, Xavier?
My game crashed.
Okay. While we wait for Xavier to return, I'll ask a question for Doctor. What are some events that you yourself will host in the Discord specifically, but also the game?
Well, in Discord specifically, I'd make announcements. I'd be like, hey, if anyone wants to sit down and chat, I'll be here for, next hour or so. And I'll do stuff. I'll play games with people on there, like Gardic Phone, all that cool stuff. And on the actual server, I could hold speeches, and make fun mini games for people. And also, I'm working on this project. It's called New Vegas, and it's gonna basically be built for people having fun. It's gonna have a lot of games in it, a lot of gambling, and it's gonna be great for that goal.
Okay. Um, Xavier, are you about to log back in?
Still loading.
Okay. While we wait on Xavier, I'm going to ask another question for Doctor. Um, oh, there he is. Well, never mind. So,
Oh, I'm in.
I'll do that one after Xavier answers this. So, Xavier, same question to you. This comes from Jace. What events will you host, specifically in the Discord, but also in the game as well?
Already explained the game, so Discord. Maybe some Q&As answering questions about the server history, asking or just playing some fun games. Like what Paige does for Dankus. It's called Jackbox, and it's pretty fun. So host games, answer questions. Yeah.
Okay. So, alright, thank you for answering. Next question I have here is, this comes from Easton Burton. And, he asks, how do you plan to, use the history of the server to expose people to it? You know, whether it be a museum in the game, a video, or maybe some channels in the Discord. I'll let Doctor go first. How do you plan to just expose the server history to people, essentially?
Well, I plan to make a museum in the city I'm building, in Vegas. Uh, and in there's going to be a lot of books and pictures stuff for server history. Uh, I also plan to, when I get the right setup, make videos about what's going on in the server. And quick little catch ups for people who haven't been, oh, um,
Uh,
etc.
all right. Um, okay, now for Xavier, same question. Um, how would you best expose people to the server, whether it be through showing the history in Discord channels, videos, museums? How would you tell people the server history if they're completely new?
Probably just explain it in words.
Explain in words, but how would you like through what medium?
Medium? What?
Yeah, as in, would it be a video, museum, Discord channels? What do you mean?
Museum, probably.
Museum, okay. Um, we now have a question from Jace. This is a really long question, so he says, and this is for both candidates. An issue that has plagued the server since the UWP crisis on the Discord side has been the death of the hub server, which is where most new players go. How do you plan to fix this? And then he expands on this question by saying, both of you primarily use faction exclusive servers, which contributes to the dead and quiet feeling on the hub server. How do you plan to move everyone back to the main server? Um, we'll start with Xavier this time. So,
Okay.
uh,
Hello?
yes.
Oh, okay. Um, the
So, Xavier, the question is asking the main server, Charles Zonia. what tends to happen a lot of times server history is that it will die, and how do you plan to prevent this or fix this problem? Because in an active hub server, Charlesonia, that's where most of our new players go. So how would you plan to prevent its death? And also, since you primarily use faction servers, um, which contributes to the quiet feeling on the main server, how would you get everyone to use the main Charlesonia server again?
Maybe move the faction servers into like secret chats on the main server, and just like move the people to the Charles server,
Mm-hmm.
the Charlesonia Charles, and then you can communicate more in general chat to the new players. You can promote your faction more, and you could have new roles to your faction. Maybe not visible, but you can just have like event roles, faction roles.
Okay. Same question for you, Doc. Many people use the faction servers, and the actual Charlesonia
Um,
server, where our new players go, tends to become
yeah,
inactive
I
as a
have
result.
I have noticed that there is a great influx of people who don't use the actual uh, hub server, and I have a great way to fix that, which isn't just eliminating the whole purpose of faction servers. Um, it's you do more events, you be more active within the community of the hub server, and not just said faction servers. I'm aware I am on the Denka server a lot. And that's because I have a lot of business there that I have to attend to. But I try to use the Charles on server a lot. I say, hey guys, what's up every now and then. I do my best. uh,
But
and
is there a
like I said,
specific strategy that you would employ to get more people to use it?
yes, yes. What I do, I just host more events. I be more active with people. I get them to talk more over here. I'm like, hey guys, uh, let's come and talk over. Let's join the Charles VC or something. You know, more events. Being more active. If you're more active, people start being more active. You know, they start following you. They start being more active, and that's all you got to do. If
Alright.
you're more active as the president, then people will follow.
Okay. We have another question. This is for both candidates. I will let Doctor go first this time. It comes from Jace, and it asks, um, content creation, specifically for YouTube, used to be the main medium we use to get new players through. The YT community now is very small, and many people don't want to create. So, how do you plan to fix this error
I
and expand our YouTube community?
I actually have my own YouTube channel. I go on there and I stream a lot. I'm not very good at being entertaining, not yet. At least not with Minecraft, because whenever I'm playing Minecraft, I get into like a zone where I just don't talk, and I need to work on that. But I have a channel where I'm starting to stream. I streamed one time for just like a test, and it went all right. And I plan to do that a lot. Um, yeah.
Okay.
What I'm
Um,
trying to figure out for that is a way, like if I'm in a call, I'm trying to figure out a way for like if I'm streaming, I want the people listening to the stream to also be able to hear the people I'm talking to. Because I'm on PlayStation, I'm not entirely sure how to do that quite yet.
okay. Xavier, same question for you. How do you expand to or plan to expand our YouTube community, which used to be our main source of getting new players? How are you going to encourage people to make new content for it?
Um, promote. Actually, I would like to promote the YouTube channels more, not just show us streams of them streaming. And we could also expand the YouTube community using
Okay. Um, so for our final question, this is for both candidates, and it asks, I'll let Doctor go first. Sorry, Xavier, you went last time. So Xavier, what makes you a better candidate than Doctor?
um okay. I'd like to keep most of the server history intact and just not get rid of not just whatever. This not just kind of whatever Doc said with war, I'm pretty sure. Because we want to keep it the same way and we'll. Oh. Um. Okay. Just mainly. I'm just trying to put this in words. Um. I just want server history to be the same, and I want to make the community great.
All right. Same question for you, Doc. What makes you the best candidate?
What makes me better? Alright. I respect my fellow. However, Xavier is not confident. He's unprepared. He's confused all the time about questions. And, I respect him. He's a good man. But those aren't good qualities in a president. It seems he doesn't know exactly what he wants to do. And most of his campaign, this whole time, instead of being focused on what he can do, has been what the other candidates have not been doing, or what the current president has not been doing. And just hasn't been looking for the best interest of people and just trying to see how he can win. And I mean, I don't quite understand that. But what makes me better is I I actually fight to make things better. I actually try to make things better. I don't just say I want to make things better and then not do anything like what has happened before. Server history is an extremely important thing. I've never wished to get rid of that. That's very important. And war is also an important aspect. However, when used too much, it can get out of control very quickly and can destroy everything. And I understand that. I've seen it firsthand, and I've seen the destruction of things. I have experience